Hey, are you ready to take control of your financial future? Welcome to Private Money Club. Private Money Club is the ultimate online platform connecting real estate entrepreneurs with private money lenders just like you. Whether you're looking to fund your next deal or lend money to grow your wealth, Private Money Club is your go-to resource. You can post deals, find funding, connect with other like-minded professionals. It's just a community. It's a community that you need to plug into. If you're new to the game, no problem. Our Learn platform and our weekly coaching webinars and our on-demand resources are here to guide you every step of the way. Join a thriving network of real estate experts who are already making an impact, and they're waiting to partner with you. So Private Money Club gives you the tools, the training, the connections, and everything you need to achieve your financial goals. So why don't you start now by going to privatemoneyclub.com. We'll see you inside. Hey, you need to become your own bank. And it's as simple as changing one thing, and that is where your money goes first. I mean, think about it. Household debts in this country are at all-time highs. You got tons of market volatility. You got the potential for Social Security running out of money. You've got global uncertainty, political divide, and you have to figure out where you're going to put your hard-earned savings. I mean, this is one of those times in history where the rich are getting richer, and it is time to learn the secrets of the wealthy. But here's the good news. Every single Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I put on a free webinar where I teach you how to take back control of your money by teaching you how to become your own bank. So click the link below and let's get started. So let's go into the app, because the app was created after a dating site, believe it or not. So people with money and people that need money. Phone, swipe left. Ooh, I like that one. Swipe right. You want to go on. If you got money, you want to swipe left through all the deals. When you find one you like, boom, you're connected. How much more difficult does this really need to be? This isn't rocket science. They want you to think it is because they want control of your money. It is time to take back control of our money. I want to invite you to a free interactive webinar that we're doing to teach you how to get prepared for what's about to happen and how you can grow, preserve, and protect your wealth and get it ready for a recession or maybe the next Great Depression. So all I need you to do is click the link below. You're not going to want to miss this with all this stuff going on. Are you sick of having your money lying around not doing anything? Well, we've got the solution for you. PrivateMoneyClub.com. Back to you, Chris. So that's what it is. Private Money Club was created for you and for all of us. So I've got something special. Since you're here, you're listening to us talk to you about the infinite banking concept, I wanted to make an offer. Private Money Club is something that will benefit each of you, but we've got what's called the Accelerator. The Private Money Club Accelerator is a coaching program that takes together the knowledge that you'll need to be your own bank and puts it together with the opportunities in Private Money Club so that now you learn and apply the knowledge. Check it out. We got a very special offer for you to be part of the next Accelerator coaching program and get you into Private Money Club so your money starts working for you.
Hey everybody, it's Buff Finance Guy here, ready to show you how to make some serious gains. But not only in the gym, with your wallet too. Most people put their money in the bank doing absolutely nothing for them. But I'm gonna show you how it doesn't have to be that way. So take Andrew here. His money has just been sitting lazy in the bank. But all he has to do is change one thing, and that's where the money goes first, and everything changes. Just change where your money goes first, silly.
Wait, just one change?
Yeah, that's it. Instead of sending it to the bank, you send it to your very own banking system. And your money can grow and get stronger, just like me.
It's time for Money School TV. You heard it straight from the horse's mouth.
In The Money School TV strives to bring you the most relevant content of how money really works, past, present, and future. It's not a one-size-fits-all system. This platform provides you with ways to implement strategic decisions while avoiding fear-based decisions at all costs. Totally digital with new content added all the time on financial wealth creation strategies and how to regain control of your money. This 2-hour monthly group coaching with Chris Naugle is available now for only $19 per month. This is something you don't want to miss. Click the link below to get access now.
Whoa! I feel great. My money's not being lazy anymore, it's getting swole. Just like me.
Attaboy, Andrew. No more lazy cash. Now your money is growing, strong, and totally under your control.
Wow, thanks, Buff Finance Guy. Now I'm ready to grow my wealth and feel as good as I look.
So if you want to learn more on how you can compound your money and your muscles, I'm at BYOB.
You have to be a part of it.
Do whatever it takes to get here.
Get your ass up and come.
So here we are out in Las Vegas, Nevada, at Dream Racing for the experience. We brought the whole team, the whole clan out here to race exotic sports cars like this GT4 RS. This is what making memories is all about.
Together, we create experiences for each other, around each other, and memories we get to create.
This is my third experience and I love it. Being at the experience brings out the camaraderie, being around like-minded people. It just brings out the best in you.
I don't know why the rest of you aren't here. It's an amazing event. I have never missed one since they started 3 years ago.
The breathing exercises to the mental, the Brent Kessler to now the racing to just the overall mindset. Your network is your net worth.
We can sit in a room all day, listen to the speakers, or we can come out here, make some quick laps, learn how to drive, and make memories that last a lifetime. You should be here next time.
Well, the biggest thing I hope that people get is something that they can actually apply in their lives. You know, that's the biggest thing for any of these events that we want. We want people to leave here not just riled up, not just excited, but actually going out and doing something that'll put them in a better financial situation, help their family. And for the speakers, my goal is that they go out and they impact the audience and bring something the audience never had exposure to that allows them to then fill in that piece that they're looking for. I'm going to be talking about more lease options. I'm going to be talking about equity shares. I'm going to be talking about a bunch of fun stuff today. Because again, I'm not here to teach about how to do those deals. I'm here to teach about how to invest in those deals.
Filled with individuals that are like-minded, that are at the top of their craft, they're at the top of their game. And for anybody that's an attendee, it's just a mind-blowing experience.
It's almost going to be hard to speak anywhere else but here because it was such a great experience. I felt like, I don't know. It was amazing. Nothing less than amazing, literally.
At the PMC Money Tank event, which is an epic event that we're putting together that does one thing and one thing only, makes everybody money. It brings people with money together with people that need money. It's like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You just smash them together and everybody wins.
Wednesday, 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. Do it live!
All right, what's going on, everybody? Another week, another what the F happened, and holy smokes, has it been a couple weeks, and it's just been a doozy. I mean, there are literally mixed signals everywhere. If any of you are paying attention, I mean, the signals are completely mixed. You got U.S. stocks set to reach record highs. The Nasdaq's already at record highs. The S&P just off highs. Got Europe way off of their numbers. You got China scrambling to adjust their economic strategies, which we're going to talk about today. They're all worried that the U.S. is winning the trade war, and you know what? They are, as long as the tariffs don't get rescinded. At the same time, gold and silver prices, well, they're surging. Gold's going nuts. And a crazy thing that actually was just brought to my attention, and this is the scariest thing I've heard in a long time. Google searches for mortgage help, not Google searches for mortgage. Google searches for mortgage help, like people need help because they can't make their mortgage payments, have surpassed the 2008 crisis levels. Political tensions, well, I don't need to say much on that. They're boiling over. Violence is on the rise. I mean, just look at what's going on. It's everywhere. You almost can't get away from it. And the New York governor, Hochul, who's right from my hometown, well, she's backing, and I'm saying this, and I know we're going to talk about this today, a communist. That's the only way I'm going to put it. I hate the New York mayor that is, in the lead right now. We're going to talk about Mandami, like in whatever you want to say. If I say his name wrong, good. I'm trying not to even know him and know anything about him. But the question is, the most important question I'm going to pose to all of you is, where do we go from here? That is what we all need to be thinking about. That's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to get into some interesting things about Wall Street, about the economy, about what's really going on. 16 years since the last recession. That's a long time, double what it should be. Everything right now is pointing one direction. What is that? What do you think? We're going to get into that and a lot more right after this. Folks, so welcome back to WTF, What the F Happens, a show where we talk about what's going on in the economy. We rant, we rave, and we sometimes argue about the different topics that are happening. But what we've done with this show is we've gone behind the scenes. We've gone to economic white papers, economic newsletters. We try to get the real news, not what you're seeing in the fake news, the MSNBCs, the CNN, the Fox News, and all those. You're just getting like one side or the other side. It just seems no middle ground anymore unless you go off the grid, unless you go outside of mainstream media. And that's what I would recommend everybody does. If you want some sanity in your life, I say that when I feel like I'm literally about to go off of a freaking cliff right now. Anyway, Stephen and James are joining us today. Stephen, what's going on? Is there any sense of just sanity down there in Florida?
Yeah, world has definitely gone crazy. It's been a heck of a week. Actually, because of everything that's been, kind of dominating the news cycle with everything, with the assassination of Charlie Kirk and with 9/11 this last week, and just all the mayhem that seems
subway
to be
murder and the school
everyday
shootings
politics these days. We had our, big 2-day infinite banking, become your own banker training this weekend, which was a huge success. But definitely, today's one of my favorite shows because I have not had a chance to look at the news really over the last week because of everything going on, because of our event that we had going on, because of just being busy and other stuff. And so I'm kind of looking forward to digging into the news today. I mean, the topics you just kicked off on the introduction of the show, I mean, I can't wait to dig into some of those, especially when you start looking at these mortgage numbers. We got the Federal Reserve coming on today to presumably maybe do a 1/4 point rate cut. We'll see, but everybody's kind of looking at their guidance for the rest of the year. A 1/4 point today probably won't do much, but are they planning to continue to cut throughout the rest of the year, hold it steady? What is that? Does that correlate to the jobs numbers that we've seen, things of that nature? And yeah, man, just the markets are at all-time highs, gold's at all-time highs. But I got everything pulled up, ready to go here, and we'll definitely get into this here shortly.
And then we've been bringing Mr. James St. Cloud in, to talk a little bit about, the other side and, provide some perspective, looking through a different lens, and that's kind of what James is doing. James, what's going on that side of the aisle?
Obviously, guys, everybody's feeling the impact of all the events that happened last week. And for some people, I'm really glad that they're using this as an opportunity to come together. Everybody's feeling the pinch of these financially uncertain times. And I think that that's why these conversations, such as the ones that we're having on this live stream, are super, super important, because we have to see where we can come together as a people, how we can collaborate on ideas financially so that all of our populace can really start to prosper in the upcoming years.
All right. Well, let's dive into what the F economy. First thing I want to start with is just the pure, unadulterated chaos. I'm sorry, there is no chaos. The lies were being shown through Wall Street. I mean, Wall Street is coasting to finish one of its best weeks in the last 5 years. Okay. And not only that, the S&P and the NASDAQ hovered near record highs. NASDAQ is at record highs now, fueled by expectations that the Fed is going to cut interest rates next week. Okay. This is a bit old, but like, here we are today. The Fed's going to come on and, wave their magic wand and do what they're going to do, which everybody's saying they're going to cut interest rates. And the market is rallying because of this, which we're going to kind of dive a little bit below that. But mortgage rates have already dropped in relation to this anticipated rate drop, but the markets are just cheering this on. And the funny thing is, when you really look at the S&P 500, there's 500 stocks in there. Like, how many of those stocks are actually doing well? I have not done the analysis, but I think that would be really interesting for someone that, maybe has just nothing but time on their hand. Go through and do an analysis. Have AI do an analysis of the 500 stocks in the S&P 500. And please tell me how many of them are actually doing well. I think what you're going to find is it's going to be like 7 to 10 of them. Think about that. 10 out of 500 stocks. That isn't good odds, folks. It's not. And, there's another time in history that kind of resembles this, and that was right before the Great Depression. I'm not trying to scare anybody here, but listen, it's pretty blatantly obvious that we've had this consolidation in the S&P 500 that rivals what we saw is a consolidation in the markets back before the Great Depression, which was the Roaring 20s. Everybody was piling all their money in a select number of stocks because they were the winners. You've had that consolidation now. It's 7 to 10 stocks. Everybody's money's flowing to those. All the hedge funds, all the mutual funds, all of them are jumping on the bandwagon. And how much longer can this happen? And that's the thing that scares the shit out of me is, there's so much risk in the markets right now. So when you look at the risk reward profile, I don't see why anyone would want any money in the markets right now. I would say to any of you, if you're investing in the stock market, if you're not a professional, if you don't know what you're doing, you are absolutely batshit fucking crazy. Excuse my language, but that's all I can say. You are taking on so much risk that you don't even understand. You don't even understand the outcome of what could happen. I don't. You guys take it from there. I got nothing else to say on this. I just think that the shit that I see every single day, it drives me nuts because it is pure greed. That's all it is. James, Stephen, what do you have to say about this nonsense? I'm sick of being nice about it.
Okay, well, really quickly, guys, America, you're not crazy for putting your money into the stock market. Obviously, if you look at 10 financial influencers, they're all going to say, look, put your money in the stock market, put your money in indexes, watch the NASDAQ, watch as it goes up. And let's also not overlook the fact that institutions right now, as soon as you sign up, you are being forced into a 401k, which is going to prop up these markets. And for those of us who have been in the markets and said, hey, look, you know what, I want to take control. I want to be in charge of my own portfolio. You're not alone, because retail investors have made up a larger point of the markets at any point ever in history, as opposed to institutions. So the question is, how educated are you about stop losses? How educated are you in terms of managing your portfolio? How educated and disciplined are you about riding out tough waves? If you've seen like these stocks, some of them have surged in tremendous capacities. And we are talking about dollar cost averaging. So learn how to use a stop loss, learn how to really be in control so that when this inevitable short does happen, and a lot of these stocks that are extremely propped up right now do come to a halt, well, you're not the last one leaving the party having to clean everything up. And one final note, we also have to remember some of the people who are the largest stakeholders in stocks are also some of the wealthiest people in America as well. And it's not maybe, some people who are the truck drivers who are necessarily investing in a lot of these stocks. There's a lot of people who are averaging over $177,000 per year who have the disposable income to be actually save and invest in the stock market itself.
Last time I checked, I don't know a single 401k that has stop loss or stop limits or any of those tools that would help provide a backstop against, any, risk of the market completely falling apart. Now, if you got a Schwab account or, another brokerage account that you're managing, great. Maybe you got stop losses. Maybe every single person on here should call their financial advisor.
And also, just to kind of talk about it, what a stop loss is that let's say that you buy a stock for $100, it goes up to $130. When Chris says lock in your gains right now, what you could say is, look, I want to basically say sell the stock once it hits 120, meaning that you have just gained $20 per stock. This is a strategy that a lot of people use when they're individually managing their accounts so that they don't lose their gains. So when we say locking your gains now, do that. Do this on a cyclical basis. Check in with your personal accounts once every 15 to 45 days to make sure you are doing your due diligence as a decent investor.
As I choke right mid sentence, and that was just a sign to shut up. So, Stephen, what do you have to say about that?
No, I mean, it's, you rarely see the stock market at all-time highs, gold at all-time highs. I mean, Bitcoin always seems to follow the market, so I'm not even going to talk about that. But it's just very rare that we see all this happening at the same time. And to me, it just feels like a trap. It feels like a setup, and it feels like something big is going to happen. I mean, even real estate, real estate seems to be flattening, but mortgage demand is up right now. Rates are getting ready to be cut. It's it just seems like this everything's boiling, but at some point it all boils over. And where does it go from there? I don't know.
I mean, why does gold go higher? What makes gold hit these record highs of 3,700 an ounce? Stephen, you know a lot about gold, but if you follow history and you follow the price of gold, during what periods of time does gold rally like this?
Typically during recessionary times, during downturns.
Yep.
Because it's a hedge against the dollar being devalued. It's an actual store of value, or at least it has been historically.
I rest my case.
This number is crazy. I remember buying silver, for instance, at $18 an ounce, and right now it's at $40+ an ounce. And it's just incredible. We're dealing with some extreme financial uncertainty, and people are going to rush to what they know best. Some people want to feel that Bitcoin is the equivalent of it, but I can't go out and spend a Bitcoin to buy bread. I might be able to do that with a silver coin, though.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I talk to Brandon at PMC Wealth Advisors a lot, and we talk about this and same things. It's just, risk assets are just risky right now. And, I think a lot of times people are swayed to make decisions because their financial advisors are telling them. But has your financial advisor been a financial advisor longer than 16 years? That's the first question, because if they haven't, they don't even know what a recession means, what it feels like. Maybe they do, maybe they don't, but do they know what could be coming? Do they know how to prepare for that? Did they know how to set you up for success when everybody else is losing? Like, these are the questions people need to be asking their advisors. There's a reason gold is rallying to the levels, and there's a reason the Fed is more than likely cutting rates, and will probably continue to cut rates. And it ain't because shit's good. But the advisors that I see and that I talk to and that, my clients have me speak to, they're all like, oh, well, the money, you make more in the S&P than you do in those stupid whole life policies. If I have that discussion one more time, honestly, I don't even know what I'm going to do, but it's just absurd. But it also tells me that these advisors don't have a fucking clue what they're doing. And compliance brings me something, probably saying I can't mention PMC Wealth. Hold on. This just in from compliance. Let's see. Looking up gains is not giving. Yep. So, James, this one's on you, buddy.
Okay.
We need to disclose that what James said about locking up gains is not giving financial advice. So, James, could you do your disclaimer statement saying you're not giving financial advice? You're not a financial advisor. This is just your opinion on all that good shit.
Absolutely. Hey, everybody in internets, I am not a financial advisor. And look, everything that I say is just purely my own account. And yeah, thanks for listening to me.
I mean, the name of the show is "What the Fuck Happened," so let's gotta use our heads here, guys.
Please compliance.
And just to add that on to there really quickly, what's one of the most famous Mike Tyson quotes? Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. Right. And when you financially get punched in the face, your initial reaction is to act emotionally, to act out, to, that's it. And either make very, very rash and undisciplined decisions or just go running for the hills. And in which case you never know. So is a financial advisor, the person who is a financial professional that has passed Series 7, Series 6s and all those funny numbers, are they the ones that are disciplined as well? That's a great question to ask your advisor.
I don't know. Ask your advisor. Hey, what is the plan if the market does fall apart?
Do they know what shrinkflation is?
Oh, just keep putting money in the S&P 500. Oh, it'll be okay. It's just a paper loss. Oh, yeah, we're just going to ride this one out. We're just in this for the long haul. What's your advisor say? Ask them. And if you don't like the answer, why don't you give PMC Wealth a call, because they'll give you actual fiduciary advice on your investments, and they won't sit there and just try to sell you something. Anyway, this isn't a commercial for PMC Wealth, but honestly, sometimes people just need a second opinion. You know, all this stuff going on, and I will tell you, this is something. And Stephen, I don't know if you want to pull this up. Actually, let me pause this before I go in there. Yeah, I gotta just say something. I've taken a lot of flack, a lot of heat, a lot of hate. From people saying that, why would you listen to that Chris Naugle guy? He's gotten it wrong, all this time. Here's the one thing I have done that I will say that I've gotten right. I've been consistent. My message hasn't changed. I'm not following, the hot thing. I'm not jumping around. Let's do Bitcoin today. Oh, let's do XRP tomorrow. Oh, let's put money in the S&P. Oh, let's buy NVIDIA. Let's do all that. My message hasn't changed for years. It's been very consistent, very, very thought through, and there's a strategy behind it. But anyway, off that little thing, let's talk a little bit about rate cuts, because we're going to hear about that today. Are rate cuts good or are they bad? Let me ask you, James. Are rate cuts good or are they bad, or are they just both?
Well, yeah, I'm glad that you added that addendum in there, because two things can be right at the same time. Right now, the United States is in a very, very precarious spot. The roof is on fire while the basement is flooding. We've got massive jobs not being created within the United States. Not pointing the finger at any person or government whatsoever. And we've got this inflation, and we know that home builders need help. We know that businesses need to be able to take on some loans so they can grow their businesses. But if interest rates stay where they are right now, well, what's going to happen is they're not going to be able to borrow money in order to grow the economy. Now, for some people who, are of working class, they also anticipate, hey, look, if these rate cuts happen, well, we're going to see the price of housing go up, because people are going to still want to have this margin of profit. Builders are going to want this margin of profit. But right now, I'd say, you know what, even though I had a position that, rate cuts, I'm not sure if it's the right move. A move still needs to happen. And if a rate cuts is able to help out some of these businesses grow, and I'm coming with you, Chris, I'm coming on board. If it's going to be able to help that, at least it could be a catalyst for further change in the development of the U.S. economy.
Well, I mean, I just tell you, this has changed over the last couple of years, because I've seen the Fed drop interest rates for political reasons, but we won't go into that today. When the Fed cuts rates, it almost always means there's a weakening in the economy. It's a stimulus, right? It's like all of us drank coffee this morning. Why? Well, you need a stimulant to kind of get yourself perky and ready to go. Like, I drank a lot of coffee this morning. Maybe that's my problem this morning. Had too much coffee. But nonetheless, that's why the Fed drops rates, to stimulate the economy, to make money cheaper. But what you've got right now is a unique situation, okay? Because the Fed is kind of being pressured to reduce rates. You know, Trump is putting a lot of pressure on them, and they said, oh, we're not going to be pressured by that. But then the revision to the jobs numbers of, well, about 1 million jobs that actually weren't jobs at all. Funny how that happens. Well, we just miscalculated. You know, we thought we had the math right, but well, we missed a zero. Something like that. Whatever you want. You can all believe whatever you want to believe about that. But misstated jobs, all the things about the economy, what you're seeing, you know, on the forefront, you know, in the logistics world and everything else. I mean, all these things point one direction. You know, if you're following like and just gauging the market as how your gauge of the economy is, then you need to get off Wall Street and get into Main Street, because when the Fed drops rates, here's what you can expect: economic trouble. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You can expect rising unemployment, slower growth, weaker stocks, and a possible recession. That's what you can expect. And you know what the best indicator of that is? Gold prices. Why is gold rallying? Stephen nailed it. Because it's a store of wealth. And listen, like, I don't know what else to say. Like, this is not a time to take risk. That's what I will say. And I've been saying the same thing. This is a time where you can literally sit on the sidelines. You can be paid really well, and you don't have to take risk. You can literally just sit there, wait for the opportunity. You know what? If you did that, you'd be just like Warren Buffett. How many of you want to be like Warren Buffett? How many of you want to be wealthy like Warren Buffett or follow Warren Buffett's investment advice? Like, that would be what you'd be doing, because he's sitting on gobs of cash right now, waiting, just waiting.
Yeah, I mean, your first question, Chris, you know, are we going to see rate cuts, or, you know, I guess maybe should we see rate cuts? I mean, you got to kind of, if we want to think about what the Federal Reserve is doing, you know, let's just take a quick look. So the job of the Federal Reserve is to promote the stability and health of the U.S. economy and financial system by conducting national monetary policy to achieve maximum employment and stable prices. So they typically do that through rate cuts or increases, right? Because this can control prices through inflation, which rate cuts directly affect, as well as employment. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. They also supervise and regulate banks, ensuring financial system stability, fostering efficient payment systems. Now, that can all definitely be arguing, but for the sake of our
really sweet restaurant that's being built, it's only accessible by some special elevator. But anyway, that's
right. Exactly. But for the sake of our conversation, maximum employment and stable prices is really what they look to do. So the Fed manages the nation's money supply to influence interest rates and credit conditions, aiming for the dual mandate of maximum employment and stable prices. Because if you have too much employment, what happens? Prices go up. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, we already saw that, but we didn't actually have the employment that we thought we had.
Right. But prices go
by
up
about 1 million.
If we then look at inflation data, so if I come over to inflation, so obviously we had all the inflation that followed COVID, started to get back under control, you know, in recent years, but you know, we're starting to kind of tick slowly back up. I mean,
oh, that must be the tariffs, Stephen. I mean,
see rates down, inflation raising a little bit. I mean, what would you do as the Federal Reserve? It's a, you know, that's all I'm trying to get at is they do face a tough situation right now on what to do. Because like James said, they got to do something almost, right?
We have to
Wouldn't
do
want
something.
to be him. Wouldn't want to be him.
I'd like to pose a question to the audience. How many of you have a friend, family member, loved one, or hated one that has tried to apply for even an entry-level job or mid-level job over the past 30 to 60 days and hasn't been able to get hired? This is a reflection of a lot of that, because we're facing a pretty precarious situation right now. I'd like to see that to our viewers at home or on the road anywhere.
Yeah, I agree. You know, and I'm not saying gold is the answer. Like, gold is a store of wealth. It doesn't provide an income. It's just nothing more than a store of wealth. It's, you know, if you buy raw gold, like if you get enough of it, well, you need somewhere to store it, and that has a cost. So gold isn't the answer. It's just one of the answers, right? So when we talk about gold and we talk about like how to do it, just follow, you know, like some of the people like Ray Dalio and the other people. Talk to your advisor. What percentage should you have? I mean, they typically say about 10% of your investable assets should be in precious metals. So are you there? You got a little bit of work to do to get there. I don't know. I just always, my money's in whole life policies. It's about the most boring thing in the world. But you know what I know? I know that tomorrow I'll have more money than I do today. And I know that next year I'll have more than I did this year. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. No
risk whatsoever. To me, I sleep pretty good at night knowing that. And I know that when I want to buy something, instead of going to the shitty banks, and I'm going to wait till the US section to talk about that. But instead of going to the shitty banks, I go to the bank of my bank. I go to my bank. I control the narrative. And I know no matter how much we all might disagree on things and want to argue about things, that right there, we all completely agree on that. Like there is no deviation in any of our thoughts about that being probably one of the best things you could do. You guys don't have to agree with me. Please disagree. I'm in the mood to argue today.
I was just going to add, one of the white papers you sold me, you had sent me this week, Chris, it asked the question, what should we be most concerned about as consumers after rates are lowered? And I think that's a pretty good question. I mean, did you want to read through that?
Yeah, yeah, pull it up.
I mean, just kind of,
I sent you a lot of articles, so I'm sorry. I don't remember which one that one was.
Yeah, that's just a few cents. So lower rates. So the answer would be lower rates are not stimulus. They are typically associated with recession or depression. As rates drop, consumers should be concerned about rising unemployment, which is what James just mentioned, credit losses, slow growth, and declining stock prices, which are all characteristics of recessions. President Trump has been banging the table for lower rates, but he should be careful what he wishes for. The emerging recession or actual recession, if it is already here, will cause a stock market drawdown to commence as earnings are revised downward, consumer confidence crumbles, consumer discretionary spending hits a wall, and precautionary savings rise. When I see unemployment going up and new hiring dry up, all those things tell me that the economy is heading for a recession. What should consumers do? Buy gold. Everyone says gold's an inflation hedge. Yes, it can be, but the correlation with inflation is much less than most people imagine. Gold is best thought of as the everything hedge. It's the hedge against uncertainty, geopolitical uncertainty, social uncertainty, wars, depressions, etc. Historically, gold has performed very well in depressionary scenarios because it's a safe haven against all the things that are going wrong. I recommended 10% allocation for investable assets investing in gold. It's not me recommending. I'm reading an article here. It's not too late to ride the gold train in the latest super cycle we're experiencing. So that's from one economist, Chris.
So they are saying that there's still room for gold to go up, because one of the things
for sure.
that we have to look at is when you purchase gold, especially at a retail venue, you still have to pay tax on it. And that will eat into your future growth. So that's something to be very concerned about.
Yeah, factor the tax on that. There's all things got to be considered. And the other thing I like, Michael said something unique coming in from YouTube. He said leveraging against gold to invest is a pretty cool strategy. He said it's a lot like infinite banking. Even better if you borrow from your infinite banking policy for gold, then invest. Oh yeah, and the lazy cash just showed up. Say hi, Cash. But I love that because you can stake your gold. I don't know if that's the exact word. I know staking is kind of more of a crypto word, but you can put your gold up, as collateral and then use bank money and leverage that. And that is actually probably not a bad strategy right now with where the price of gold is. Gives you liquidity of the gold, which you don't have, allows you to go out there and make money a second time. It's just, you just have, risks that you have to really be aware of. Is if you're buying gold now, you're buying at a high, maybe not the highest, maybe it'll go higher, but you're definitely not buying low. That's for sure.
All right.
And Jim said gold will continue to go up because we are in Weimar 2.0, but most don't know it yet. And I'm not sure. I'm not familiar.
I don't know what Weimar is yet either.
Yeah, and you're right. Depends on the state you're in. If you live in New York, forget it. Forget about it.
So gold. So you're taxed when you buy gold,
if you buy it on retail, Stephen, not the way you buy it, not the way we taught.
I've never seen that before. I didn't.
Oh yeah,
retail.
Retail, yeah, and that's where 80% of people are going to be buying gold at is retail. They're going to go on, some of the websites.
Let's use Costco. Costco sold those like gold bars or whatever it was. Like there was tax on those when you bought those, for sure.
And they're one of the largest retailers of precious metals in the United States.
It's saying 42 states have removed taxes from the purchase of gold and silver retail. So there's only a handful remaining.
Oh, I bet you New York's one.
New York definitely has it.
So, all right. Well, that's good, Stephen. Thank you for pulling it up. That means most people don't have to do that. We just, we're going to talk about New York in a little bit. But actually, you know what? Let's just hit this real quick. Stephen, what's going on with mortgages right now? There is a massive cry for help when it comes to mortgages. You have a chart that is just, if you look at this, right, this is eerie. Just eerie.
This is the chart of searches for help. This is from Polymarket, of course, an online gambling for all things kind of political.
Yeah,
But
you should be betting against this.
so this is something they released. So searches for help with mortgage surpassed 2008 housing crisis. Now, some younger people that we associate with, Chris, said that it might be because more people use the internet today. But I think in 2008, the internet was already pretty popular. But that's a pretty staggering statistic right there, in my opinion.
It is. It could be skewed, but nonetheless, we've talked about it, and we've even done YouTube videos showing you the stats of delinquencies on car loans, credit cards, and mortgages, and they are definitely on the climb. So with that, the delinquencies is going to come help. People want help, but yeah, that could be skewed. I mean, if this is just a betting thing, they're just showing you numbers, and you could take it for what it is, but. Nonetheless, let's kick off my favorite segment because I got a lot to say on this next one. And I don't want to run out of time. Let's talk about the USA.
My fellow Americans.
So you know the thing. I'm probably not the one to kick this one off. So, Stephen, you wanna kick this one off?
Yeah, what do we got going on in the USA this week?
Oh, lots going on in the USA. I mean, poor girl comes over from bomb shelters in Ukraine, making a start for herself, had a job, just got her license, sits down on a subway in Carolina, and crazy man just kills her. I mean, how about we start there? Not much to say. I mean, if any of you watch that video, especially if you're a father, looking into that girl's eyes and looking at that, like, that's forever seared me. Like that changed me. Then you got 9/11, you got Charlie Kirk gets assassinated. Okay. Get shot. That's still unfolding. A lot of things not making sense there. But one thing that does make sense is, they've raised $5 million for Charlie's family. And, I think that's great. And Turning Point, his company, Turning Point USA, saw an upward of about 18,000 new chapter requests. That was just overnight. I mean, you want to talk about an outpouring of, just, I don't know what you call it. The one thing I will say is when that happened, I'm like, all right, what's going to happen tonight? Are there going to be riots? Are there going to be fights? What's going to happen? Because there's a lot of people that were celebrating this, which is even James, like we've talked about this, like that by no account is that okay. No account, none at all. I've gotten beat up tremendously online because I posted a lot of stuff about Charlie. My wife has been following Charlie since 2020, so I'm pretty familiar with the guy. Like, he's a faithful man. He's a family man, a father. So like I see a lot. When I look at him with his daughter or daughters. It's hard not to see yourself. He's on stages. I'm on stage. So there's just a lot. So this one like cut me deeply. It literally just crushed me. I've cried more in the last week than I think I have in probably the last 30 years of my life. But nonetheless, one thing like the father of the shooter, I guess they had like, when the FBI was going to give them a reward for turning them in, and they pledged that over. I don't know if that's true. And that's the problem. You just don't know what's real and what's not when you're on social media. Like, there's a lot of stuff, and cutting through the real and the not real is really difficult. But nonetheless, the one thing that is very real and very, very easy to see is he was assassinated for his belief. And we could go on for days, not just the next 30 minutes, about other people throughout history that have been assassinated for their beliefs. And, I think you can name them. I don't need to name them for you, but I posted that. And boy, did a lot of people have a lot to say about that. And you know what I have to say to them? Fuck every single one of you. That's what I have to say. This is what the F. So fuck every one of you. James, you might as well pick up and take over there.
Well, I think that one thing that both sides of the sane portion of the aisle are saying is, look, you shouldn't be assassinated. Not for your beliefs. We believe in free speech, and freedom at its core is your right to swing your arms as wildly as possible, as long as you're not hurting somebody else. And we don't want to see thought leaders assassinated. We want people to be able to express free thought and encourage change, which is one of the reasons why we debate some of the ideas that we have right here. just because I may disagree with you or you may disagree with someone else, it doesn't mean that you should have to pay this ultimate sacrifice. And especially at a college or university campus where it's dangerous to be there intellectually, but physically safe. You may have heard that a number of times, but it rings true more to today than any other time possible, regardless of how your personal opinions of Charlie Kirk are. Obviously, I mean, we've talked off camera, Chris and I, about this. And I think that one of the things that at its foundation comes down to is what have we learned from this? What can we take from this? Because we are doomed to basically repeat the sins and the mistakes of the past unless we look back upon them and say, look, we are not going to repeat them going forward in the future.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not happening. I mean, you turn on CNN, you turn on MSNBC, you turn on these news channels, you watch some of these different politicians, senators, House representatives, and they're right back to saying Charlie, just short of saying Charlie deserved it. Some came out and straight said Charlie deserved it because of his rhetoric. I mean, it's being said. I got hours and hours of videos I could play of these people just over this weekend, not to mention the days and days of videos of the weeks leading up to his assassination of so many Democratic politicians and news people calling Republicans fascists and Nazis. And we have to save democracy. We have to get out there and fight. We have to do something or we're going to lose this country. And just the constant rhetoric that led up to it.
Stephen, please, Stephen. I know that we agreed for a ceasefire, especially on this sensitive topic. But I also encourage you and anybody who's watching this at home, please don't pay attention to the outliers. Also pay attention to people who are saying, please
CNN is the outlier. I think anybody that watches CNN is just
saying like, this is not good. Because there's a lot of people who are saying that, but in our today's society, we want to go right to that, you know what? He deserved it. And yes, I've fallen victim to some of that. Absolutely. But if we are truly Americans, if we are truly looking to not repeat the mistakes of the past, then we are not going to go down that rabbit hole.
Well, the thing I found interesting is after this, you never knew what was going to happen. I mean, this is a pretty massive thing. Some would compare this to that of, MLK being assassinated, and there was no statues being knocked down. There was no buildings being burned. There was no looting. There was no, people going out there just, rioting. None of that. I couldn't even believe that. I'm not going to lie. I couldn't believe it. But there was a whole lot of people praying. There was a whole lot of people mourning. And that I think is the biggest takeaway from it. And when people say, there's no difference, between this, whatever you want to call it, the divided country, there's no difference. There clearly is. Clearly. And I don't know how else to put it. And yeah. So I think everybody saw what we saw.
Charlie Kirk meant a lot to a lot of people in different ways. We also can agree, two things can be right at the same time. And what we need to understand is not everybody who's on another side of the political spectrum from you is your enemy.
I agree. And there's been an outpouring of people, Democrats that have been supportive, but then there's also been the ones that use the word "but" too much. Well, Charlie Kirk was this, but, and then they'll bring up, oh, he said that civil rights was wrong, or he said this, or he said that, which I've actually had to check myself and go back and watch the interviews where those things were said. And you're right. There can be two rights. Like it could be taken in different context, no matter how you're reading it or looking at it, but it doesn't support any of it. And it shouldn't even be brought up. And, there was this one nice gentleman, I'll call him out. His name was Roger on my Facebook post that I did, and he was pretty aggressively kind of just attacking my post. And he said, well, you didn't post, and I'm sorry, I forget her name. The woman, from
Minnesota.
Yeah. From Minnesota. Was it Nancy? Horman, but nonetheless, like I went in and I'm like, okay, I didn't even hear about that. I researched it. It was quite, a couple months ago. So it was probably just too far back. And I read it and it was horrific. Like, so I posted that and I said, I don't remember what I said, but something very nice. And, but this person was like saying, well, because you post all this stuff about Charlie, how come you didn't post about this? So I'm sorry, my diversification isn't on par with what you want me to post, but like, this is what touched me. This is what struck a nerve with me. I'm sorry I didn't hear about that, but here you go. Like now it's top of mind. Now I saw it, but it's just like, why? Anyway, we got to move past this because we're just going to spend the entire time on this, because I am definitely.
I'm glad that you brought that all up though, Chris, because we do have to be aware of each other's issues. Let's face it, there is a financial and economic divide between America. There's still a color divide in America, and to at least the outer tier of what Charlie Kirk talked about, he says, I do want America where we don't have to be worried about color. And there's a lot of videos of him actually just communicating freely and effortlessly with people who look like me. But at the same time, this is America, and things like color, race, financial standing are still mainstream issues, and they still have degrees of bias within our societies. There's no way around it.
Yeah.
We talked about gold and silver before. I got my silver Charlie Kirk coin in the mail yesterday.
That's
so
awesome.
It's a memory of Charlie, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. There's been no comments on Instagram. It's interesting, but thank you, YouTube, for all your comments here. Let's move on.
Staying in America, before you get to Mom Donnie, I mean, Michigan is going a weird direction. This came out of Dearborn the last couple of days. Just watch this real fast.
I mean, Hezbollah, bombed the embassy in Beirut, and including many Americans. So I just feel it's quite inappropriate.
You are an Islamophobe, and although you live here, I want you to know, as mayor, you are not welcome here. And the day you move out of the city will be the day that I launch a parade celebrating the fact that you moved out of the city.
So that's probably not good in Dearborn, Michigan. But
what the hell?
Mayor telling the citizen he should get out of there because he's not Islamist.
Wow, that's a whole nother.
So just a recap, this guy is saying that he doesn't like the religion or he doesn't like the people. What was the foundation of what this guy was saying?
They wanted to rename a street after a pro Hezbollah figure named Osama Siblani. So the citizen said, I don't think that's a good idea. And the mayor said, well, you need to get the hell out of the city then. Michigan.
Interesting.
And then we see what's happening in New York City with Donnie, who's a self-proclaimed socialist and has very communist Marxist ideals. It's interesting to see.
I mean, let's skip right over retail sales.
Let's get to it.
Who cares about retail sales? Let's talk about the socialist mayor who's, being endorsed by our shitty governor. Okay. No other way to call it. All right, this is going to go down right here, right now. You cannot tell me we have a good governor in New York. We do not. Hochul?
Florida guy's going to sit out of this.
What has that bitch done that has helped this state?
Here's what I can say. Here's what I can say, because honestly, I have not really delved too deeply into Hochul and what she's done for the state. I know that
she hasn't done anything. Let's move on to what is this socialist crazy son of a bitch going to do? Mandami, what is he going to do?
Well, number one, he's not going to be corrupted by Trump by getting out of jail out of free card like Eric Adams did. Okay. He's not going to be doing the same fuckery that we have with Cuomo and be part of the system, even though he's the lesser of the two evils. So we know that housing unaffordability is an all-time high in New York City. They said, you know what, we're going to get rid of the Airbnbs and reduce the Airbnbs, and that's going to make rents come down. Well, that didn't happen. And then now Mamdani is saying, look, I've been talking to the people on the street, the people who are, the transit workers and the people who are trying to make $1 out of 15 cents, and it's not working. So let's say socialism might just work. And if it doesn't, guess what? Then somebody else is going to be elected in. But if it does work,
has socialism worked? Please tell me an example.
So, okay, there will be government-owned grocery stores that's going to help people. How is that much?
That's going to help people. That's going to create lines out in front of grocery stores.
That does not mean that there will be no private industry. If you don't like the line, then you go to the private industry and you simply go to the regular grocery store. It does not come within the absence of private industry. It just means that it strengthens the social safety net that city needs right now more than ever, because the price of goods is going crazy and incomes are not going up as well. We have a problem in New York City. and it could easily spread to other major metropolitan areas across the world. But if we don't try something different, we are doomed to repeat the same mistakes. It's not a simple case of, don't worry, just pull your bootstraps up, work a little bit harder. There are people who are working 2 jobs to this day that cannot afford to put food on the table, and that's a fucking travesty.
That's not just in New York. That's in every state in this country, probably
exactly.
everywhere
And
in the
what
world.
program has worked to fix that?
But let's talk about what was the number one thing that resulted in inflation.
Socialism hasn't even been
created
tried.
the
What are you talking
inflation?
about?
What created the inflation? An overreaction to the COVID virus? An overreaction that printed $5.2 trillion more
People
money
couldn't work.
in that one
People were
printing.
being at
they
risk
printed
for
more money
COVID.
that
And
one
we're
time.
going to dial that back. We're going to
overreacted.
say that.
So why did we have inflation? Oh, that's Trump, right? Trump created the inflation, right? It had nothing to do with
inflation.
the printing
two
of all this
major
fiat money.
cash injections under Trump, one under Biden, and now we are facing the results of that right now. I'm not going to point the finger at Trump. You don't point the finger at Biden because the two colluded. It was the only seemingly rational solution that they had at a time because we are facing a crisis that we had never faced before. We were facing essentially a plague. People could not go to work without people dying because people were getting locked up in trucks outside of hospitals from the number of fatalities that happened there. Talk to medical professionals about that. Socialism is not the same as communism. Communism is where the government is involved in every single decisions that the businesses make. Socialism means that there is a stronger social safety net that disperses a small tier of wealth that currently is being held by the top 1% across everybody else so that the people don't fall through the cracks and we don't end up in some disparate type of society where we're headed to anyway.
All right, I'm going to side with you. I'm going to go with Rick. So let Mandami win. Then we'll watch and we'll see what socialism and communism feels like. And hopefully
don't even know the
difference to this
between
shitty
socialism
state
and
called New York.
communism.
Hopefully that's the only.
What is the difference? Somebody, not you, Steve, not you, Chris. Somebody actually show us what is the difference between socialism and communism, because you'll see that they are worlds different.
They certainly are worlds different. I'll agree with you there.
Okay. And Marxism, which is a term that people throw around without even understanding what it means. Marxism is the observation of watching one economy transition into another. That's what it is.
Oh, I understand.
Okay. So when we say this Marxist socialist and trying to demonize somebody for having different ideas and bringing different ideas to the table for a society that is massively deteriorating, how dare we say that, look, well, this isn't ever going to work. Why? You want more buffoonery? You want more shenanigery? No.
So here, I just asked AI, okay, because AI is way smarter than any of us jackasses. So it says success depends on the definition of socialism and the criteria for success. While no large-scale, purely socialist country has ever been historically successful, many countries have successfully adopted socialist policies, which we have in the U.S., within a mixed economy, partially the Nordic nations. Pure socialism. This mayor, like this Mandami, is pure socialist. Okay, so here, let me read you a little bit about that. Strict Marxist or command economy models of socialism, which emphasize state control of means of production, have historically failed when implemented on a national scale. Soviet Union, communist. I'm going to say this wrong, but Maoist China.
Maoist China,
socialist policies led to famine that killed tens of millions of people. China's dramatic economic growth began only after it abandoned pure socialism. Oh, but millions of people had to die. Venezuela, you all can look at that. The country has experienced hyperinflation, food shortages, and a collapsing economy despite vast oil reserves. Okay, then democratic socialism and mixed economies. In contrast, many countries have found success by incorporating socialist principles such as social welfare programs, we already have that, universal services, we already have that, into a capitalist market system. These are often referred to as democrat socialism or mixed economies. And I can keep going. This is AI.
Okay.
So you tell me, where has socialism fucking worked?
Norway and Sweden, two of the happiest countries in the world, are often called socialist. but that's not quite actuous. There's socialist democracies, which is what you see from people like Mamdani, okay, Bernie Sanders, ALC, people that I know that you guys love to villainize. Okay, they both have capitalist and market economies. I'm going to let you guys at home decide whether or not you want your challenges.
I asked AI, just stop.
No, I just asked AI too.
Neither Norway nor
Sweden
Sweden is a socialist country, although they both feature a strong welfare state with publicly funded social services and high taxes. Their economic systems are best described as mixed economies that follow the Nordic model of social democracy. Neither
which
one
is
of them
exactly
are
what
purely
Bernie Sanders
socialist.
has been talking
Mamdani is purely socialist.
No, he is not. He is not taking over the capital markets. He is not going to be saying, you know what, the government owns all of this. He's saying, look, we have a social safety net. We're going to imitate basically and emulate a lot of the systems that we see in some of these European countries. So to a small degree, and it doesn't mean that people who have wealth are going to have to necessarily divulge all of it.
The funny thing is, we're going to find that out because I'm sure
Exactly.
he's going to win in this stupid state. I got to find a way to get out of here. I honest to God. Yeah. And Shauna said Sweden's also a place where they get a job for like their entire life. Heard of someone who lived there 10 years, said, let's see, someone lived there 10 years and said, it's really boring. We don't do that here.
Okay. And also we see people, Sweden, Norway is a very small country. We don't do that here. It's not New York City versus Norway and Sweden.
Has more people.
The population is comparable. Let's see if it works. It doesn't mean it has to roll out everywhere. People said the same thing about healthcare. Oh, these countries that have government healthcare, it doesn't work because the United States is too big. I'm like, yo, what type of meth what color meth do you like to smoke?
Yeah, what happens to Wall Street once he takes control of the city? Well, he's already talked a little bit about that.
Well, wait, we were just saying that Norway, that the stock market needs a major correction anyway.
It's going to have a major correction.
So then if this is an intersector.
No. He's not referring to that. Like Wall Street and all the people that like feed into Wall Street, the wealthy, they're going to move out. They're going to move out of the city.
Dominator. We hear dominator. Dominator. What is this? Norway is comprised of Norwegians and Swedes. It's comprised of ethnic Swedes. Okay, I'm American. Chris is American. Hopefully, Dominator, you're American. That's a weak argument. Get out of here, bruh.
Wow. You guys came for the debate today and you got it. All right, let's move on because I'm sick of this. Like, it's just whatever. Let this state go down and fucking burn.
Well,
I could care less.
You have
All right, let's talk about world news. What is going on in the world? How about China's new economic plan? Do you guys want to talk about China? What's going on with their new economic plan? This is actually interesting. It's a 19-point stimulus plan to boost spending, open service sectors, tourism, healthcare, telecom, and support credit to fight slowing growth. So the goal is to revive consumer demand, attract foreign investment into China, and offset property slump in trade tensions. Oh, Stephen, there's only a property slump over there, right? You remember when we were covering all that stuff in China? The largest developer over there just belly up. Like that, it was not just a slump. But anyway, let's get into this. Do we have that, James? I know me and you were talking about this.
Okay.
You know, we're just getting away from now the debating because we agree on this one. Like,
yeah.
You want to talk a little bit about like this new economic plan that China needs? Because China's they're the second largest world economy. So this matters. It certainly matters. And they are definitely slipping. Now, the thing with China, you got to understand is you're not getting the real numbers. You're never getting the real numbers. So, but here, you know, they're really, really making an effort to try to turn things around. In EU, we can hit that one if we have time, but they're falling way, way down. But let's hit on China real quick. Is there any of those 19 points that you want to hit on?
You know what China has an advantage over the United States is that what she wants, she gets. And when you have just one person making basically all the decisions and saying, we are going in this direction, whether you guys like it or not, that becomes a bit of an advantage because there's a lot of noise in the United States. We know that China's facing a lot of issues right now. They have a extremely declining birth rate, and their middle class is slowly subsiding. They're going to copy a game plan that they know could work. If they can attract a lot of foreign investment and get people investing in China, that might be able to make it where they are able to turn things around. I'm starting to get different types of media saying, come to China. I'm thinking there's no freaking way. I'm not sure if that's reached any of you guys where people,
No, I haven't heard that.
they are trying to recruit people from around the world. Come to China. It's so much better. Ain't no way, Jose.
I tell you, there is a whole bunch of people that should go to China because they hate it here. They should just go. Like, go check it out. Let me know what you think.
No, I'm okay. I'm cool.
Well,
cool.
Larissa's dad, married a China woman, and he's been to China, so I've gotten that point, of like him going there, and as a spectator or as a just a visitor to China, it's not all so bad. But he also gets the real story because she lived there her whole life on what really happens.
Yeah,
and I don't know many Americans that want anything to do with that.
I
but
don't want.
I think some should go try it. Like, go.
Some of the things they don't tell you about, you're trapped in an economic class. You need a passport to go from one city, the same way that we're able to go from New York to LA. And if I say, hey, I want to stay in Los Angeles for whatever reason, I may not be able to do that. You may not be able to do that because there's a certain little passport, because they separate the different economic classes from one particular column to another. So the people who are in Shenzhen, who are in the manufacturers, I apologize if I'm saying that wrong, the people who are the workers in Shenzhen, they only get a limited tiny amount of time to see what's going on in Beijing and how bountiful people are living out there. Those freedoms aren't freedoms. I don't like that mess one bit. I'm sure that a lot of you guys feel the exact same way. But they lie a lot to their people.
Yeah, they do. But here are the things that they're saying they're going to do to boost demand. They're going to lower childcare costs. They're no longer telling women they can only have one child. They realized, you guys already know that. Yeah. Number two, they're going to improve support for senior citizens. They're going to stabilize the stock market and property markets. Love to know how they're going to do that. That's going to be
That's weird.
Yeah, they're going to ensure that small businesses get paid. What they're referring to is a lot of businesses, private businesses, have contracts with the Chinese government, and the Chinese government isn't paying the businesses. So I guess they're just going to pay like they should as a government. So that's going to stimulate the economy. And which of these are going to help on the supply side? They're going to allow more foreign investment. Interesting.
Indeed.
That'd be interesting to see who wants to invest in China.
Can I bring up a quick story there, Chris, about that?
Sure.
So as we know, one of the largest markets for Tesla is China. And of course, Elon had to jump through a number of different hoops in order to get Tesla into China. And what happened is that, of course, you got your government man in the room because you have to pay your fiefdom to President Xi. And then on top of that, they said, okay, you're going to have to manufacture everything here in China too. But all of that intellectual capital that Tesla brought in somehow got copied to NIO. It got copied to BYD. It got copied to all of these other Chinese EV companies that are using that technology today. So when you hold that as an account and say, look, yeah, come on, invest in China. It's going to be great. But we're going to bootleg all of your IP a few months or years or even a decade from now. How are individual industries, how are companies going to say, yeah, I want to come to China? I mean, granted, we have to go there for manufacturing. That's going to slowly transition to Africa. A lot of us who are in the know that. But how is China going to be able to defend and say, yes, we'll protect your IP and not bootleg your material? And I don't think that's going to pan out.
I don't know, man. I agree with you. I don't think they will. And let's just finish this up with EU, the European nation over there. So this is an interesting one. Their economy, and you've heard about it. You've heard in the trade talks and all the stuff there that Europe is kind of in a little bit of a pickle right now. There's this guy Mario Draghi, and I haven't researched him, so I'm not really sure. He's basically just saying it's falling behind global rivals due to complacency. And it does say he's one of Europe's most influential economic and political figures. And he was also Italy's former prime minister and former president of the European Central Bank from 2011 to 2019. So he's got a little bit of a background. He goes on to say EU is falling behind rivals, warned that Europe's growth model is fading as the U.S. economy grows 8 times faster. I never knew that we were growing that much faster than them, and that just 11, this is interesting, just 11% of his 383 competitiveness recommendations have been implemented, with the rest being stuck in political and bureaucratic deadlock, which, we're no strangers to bureaucratic deadlock in this country, that's for sure. Urgent reform is needed, he's saying. And he called for faster action to key reforms like merger rule. And I don't know where the rest of my notes went, but nonetheless, I'm just reading off the sheet. Oh, here we go. And he's just basically warning that the EU competitiveness, sovereignty, and investor confidence is fading fast. So listen, like you can, we primarily talk about the US here, but in this section, we get to talk a little bit about the world. And you can see it's not just the US slowing down. Like, it's a global slowdown. And typically it is, because it's a global economy, contrary to, like the talk and, make America great again and all that stuff. And I know that's the effort, but it's still a global economy, no matter how you roll it. So when the big ones start to feel it, everybody's going to feel it. And, right now the US is by far the dominant, the strongest, but it's on the verge. We're on the edge right now, where China, EU, and other first world countries are their economies are slumping. They're definitely struggling, trying to turn the ship, if you will. And is it too late? I don't know. That's what we're all going to find out. But I just think the story just resonates to what we began with. I just think now is the time to plan for the worst and hope for the best, not hope for the best and just keep hoping, because the hope it's gonna bite you in the rear end here eventually.
Absolutely. I mean, the U.S. doesn't operate in a bubble. North America doesn't operate in a bubble. And sometimes we can look at some of these smaller nations as a precursor to what could happen to larger nations. Ray Dalio was just recently being interviewed, and he says, I don't have a very strong outlook for the UK. And the UK, even though it's not technically EU, it's still in Europe.
Correct.
They said they're saddled with a lot of debt. And where they're lacking the most at is innovation. Name something that was very innovative that has come out of the UK recently within 10 years? And I'm sure somebody will be able to mention something. I hope that you do, but not on the scale of the United States, arguably not on the scale out of China. And in order for countries to keep pace in this particular economy, this globalized economy, you have to be able to innovate. You have to basically come into the markets with something new and innovative that really helps influence financial change. We have to look at some of the cornerstones of the European economy. Germany is basically propping up the EU. I mean, they're one of the largest automaking countries in the entire EU and in the entire world. They can't be the only ones. Please don't buy a car from the UK, by the way. I'm sure anybody who's ever bought a Range Rover can attest to that fact, and debate me if you want, agree or disagree. I'm still right. And now the EU is also facing a population crisis. So not only is this a short-term issue, but it can develop into a long-term issue as well, because now everybody is fighting over population as well. And without a growing population, you have a reduction in tax rate. And without a reduction in tax rate, it reduces how quickly a country can actually grow and solve its debt problems.
Stephen, bring us home on this thing. I know, been probably a tough one for some people. Some people probably love it because, hey, listen, we call it right out in the beginning. WTF is a place where we rant, we rave, and we will argue. And you got a lot of that today.
Yeah.
Sorry about the cussing, but I really am not sorry. Bring us home.
Good stuff, man. I'll see you guys at 1 o'clock Eastern for
That's how you're going to wrap the show.
Next week, guys, we're going to talk about our quarterly reports. Going to be a thing of the past with Trump. There's so many topics. Maybe we will get a chance to talk about Hyundai and the raid down there. So make sure you tune in each and every single week. That's Chris Naugle. That's Stephen Nagy. And I'm the good looking one. My name is St. James.
I do want to call out real quick on the closing, my awesome shirt. It is called the Imaginary Unicorn Life, dedicated to Index Universal Life. On that, thanks for joining us for What the F Happened. We will see you this afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern for Wealth Webinar, and I can't wait. It'll be
Go Bills.
It'll be a lot calmer because anyway, yeah, it'll be a lot calmer. Go Bills.